Hi, I'm Charlie Stockton-Powdrell, and I'm a Senior Project Manager in the Digital Health Software team at the University of Manchester. And I'm going to give you some background and an overview of the PPIE app we have developed in collaboration with young people and mental health researchers. After that, my colleague Simon Foster, a Senior Creative Web Designer, will give you a demonstration of the app and the researcher dashboard. And finally, Dr. Pauline Whelan, Co-Director of the GM Digital Research Unit at Greater Manchester Mental Health NHS Foundation Trust, or GMMH for short, and co-lead of the Digital Health Software team at the University of Manchester, will share our future plans with you. So I'll start by saying that we use a lot of acronyms in research, which I will try to spell out in full. The PPIE app started out as a project funded by the National Institute for Health Research, Greater Manchester Applied Research Collaboration, and has involved a multidisciplinary research team led by Professors Penny B and Sandra Bucci. And you can see some of the collaborators here from the University of Manchester, the GM Digital and Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Research Units at GMMH, and of the CAMS Digital Young Persons Group. So PPIE is patient and public involvement and engagement. And it's when you actively involve the people who will benefit from the research throughout the process. The PPIE app provides an opportunity for people to help shape the research by capturing public and patient opinions, enabling people to contribute research ideas and help us work to shape the research agenda together. There's frustration for both researchers and patients because they feed into the idea at the start, but often don't get the feedback or outcomes at the end. And the PPIE app can enable more anonymous two-way communication. PPIE is an incredibly valuable and necessary part of health research, and it's really important to ensure we have meaningful involvement and engagement. Traditionally, PPIE activities have taken place in person, but the COVID-19 pandemic has also impacted the way we carry out PPIE activities, and it has highlighted the need for many of these to take place online or supported by digital technology. While PPIE aims to be inclusive, some people still face challenges with access. For example, there may be physical barriers due to limited mobility, language barriers, accessibility problems, or social or cultural barriers, to name a few. We also know that researchers struggle to recruit a diverse range of PPIE contributors, particularly those from underserved communities, and this is an ongoing challenge. We have developed a digital platform to help address and potentially overcome some of these barriers, enabling PPIE contributions to be more accessible, less time-consuming, and that will also help increase digital skills and confidence, particularly in those who may not feel comfortable speaking up in a face-to-face setting. And it's important to note that we're not proposing this app as a replacement for the valuable face-to-face meetings and engagement that take place. Instead, the PPIE app will allow people to have a choice in how they are able to contribute to mental health research, and this is very much based on feedback from our public contributors. To date, we have involved young people in all stages of design and development through a series of co-design workshops, as well as involving researchers in the design and development of the web-based researcher dashboard. We have developed the app for young people to be used on Android devices and Apple devices or iPhones, and we're currently going through a phase of beta testing before we make the app much more widely available. And so I'm going to hand you over to Simon to give you a demonstration of the app and the dashboard.
The PPIE app has two separate interfaces. One interface is for the researchers and is a desktop web application. The second interface is for the participants and is a mobile app. I'm going to demonstrate both, and we're going to start with the researcher view. As a researcher, first thing I need to do is log in. Once I've logged in, I'm presented with a list of my current projects, and I can also add a new project. And that's what we're going to do to start with. So the first thing we do when we create a new project is give it a title. We then choose our audience that we want to get some feedback from. So in this case, I'm looking to get feedback from people aged between 19 and 49 with an interest in anxiety and depression. On the next screen, I can add a few more details, such as a subtitle. I can choose my dates from which I want to get my feedback. And I can add some further details, either in text or also with video. Finally, I can add some payment policy information. And then I can ask a question. So anybody who shows any interest in the project can immediately provide us with feedback. And once that's published, that will be available for participants to provide feedback on. So as a researcher, I can look at my live projects and I can step into one. And I can get an overview of how that project is looking, starting with the date that it's running, those audience, age groups and categories. And then I can see the type of feedback that the project's received, in this case, overwhelmingly positive, as well as participant feedback over time. I can also ask additional questions and view responses to previous questions. Should I wish to ask a new question, I can do so. In this case, we can create a new poll. That question will then go out to our participants to respond to should they wish to. As a researcher, the final thing I can do is provide updates on my project. So if I have any news to share, I can do so. And that way I can keep my participants up to date with any progress the project is making. So that more or less wraps up the view for the researchers. So this is the participant app. We're going to start with the sign-up process. So as a participant, the first thing I'm required to do is put in my year of birth and then choose my interests. These are the categories that the researcher's choosing from. And after I've agreed to the privacy policy, I arrive at the home page of the app. And this is the page that most users will see when they initially complete that first sign-up process. The homepage is made up of a series of cards. Each card represents a different project, and these are the projects that match the age and the interests of the participant using the app. When we're presented with a card, we're asked a question, which is, do we want to hear more? And in this case, we can say, yes, please. At that point, we can read a bit more information out about the project, potentially watch a video if there is one. And we're asked if we want to contribute more. And we can say, yeah, we do. At that point, we can respond to the question that the researchers asked. And then finally, we're asked if we want to be kept up to date and contribute further in future. In this case, we do. We're then presented with the next card. Again, we'd like to hear more. And again, we'd like to contribute. But perhaps this time we don't want any further level of involvement. So we can say at that point, no, thank you. And then for the final card we're matched with, maybe we don't like the idea of this one, so we can just say no. And they're the three different levels of responses that as a participant you can provide to each project. As a participant, I can look into my projects and see all the projects that I am a participant in. I click on a project, I can view that timeline update that the researcher has provided, so I can see how the project is progressing. And I can also look if there are any new questions that need responses, or look at the questions that have been posed in the past and what the responses have been to those polls. So that's a very brief introduction to both the researcher and the mobile app, and hopefully demonstrates how researchers and participants can collaborate remotely using this software relatively easily.
So the next phase of the PPIE app, which has just started, has 3 aims. The first aim is to enable us to capture age, ethnicity, and gender metrics within the app from contributors. The second is to expand the app from being specific to young people's mental health to be useful across health research more broadly. And the third is to explore the benefits and barriers to using the app working in collaboration with underserved groups. The overarching aim of this work is to help us increase the diversity of people involved in PPIE activities. Now, the starting point for all this is to enable us to understand who is being included and who is being excluded from PPIE activities. So one of the great benefits of collecting feedback from people via the app is that we will gather a lot of information across many different kinds of health research projects. And this means that we can really start to develop a picture about which individuals and communities are shaping research and which voices are being left out. And this can help us develop evidence for decision-making in research and also help us understand about what works in terms of supporting and enabling people to contribute to research ideas. So as we learn from the data coming through, we can then share this knowledge across research teams so that we can all learn together how best to share knowledge and engage people in PPIE. This project is part of a larger program of work we're involved in around making visible who participates in research and who doesn't, looking across data coming through from participation in clinical trials. And we're also working with Professor Dawn Edge to develop training to support the recruitment of participants from underrepresented populations into research studies. So thanks for listening. I'm looking forward to the discussion, and please contact me if you'd like to follow up about anything we've talked about.